Hello, welcome back to the Kaylie and Carol Show. We just finished Christmas. I hope everybody had a beautiful Christmas. And as we move into the new year, well, today we're going to talk about manifesting and different things like that, right?
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is a normal conversation that everybody has this time of year.
Yeah.
So we're all thinking about what we want this new year to look like. So we thought we would just share some of our tips and things that we do for the new year. Whether they've worked for us, maybe we could share things that haven't worked for us in the past, and just kind of see what comes of it. But I think the biggest thing to start talking about, I want to adjust this a little bit. The biggest thing to start talking about for the new year and for manifesting is that we manifest consciously and unconsciously. And I feel like that's a big thing that people don't realize.
What we want and what we don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was just telling someone the other day, I don't know who it was, but because I heard this and I think we talked about it one time, worrying is praying for what you don't want. So it's the same thing. And if you could just remember that, worrying is praying for what you don't want, because when we're in that constant energy of worrying, we're constantly bringing that to us. And I also wore my snake ring today because it being New Year's, and just the whole thought of like shedding what no longer. Well, why would you think I'd wear it?
I have no clue.
Shedding what no longer serves you and moving into, new skin and new things. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say what did you say? Worrying is praying for what you don't want. But that makes sense. We just put out a post like a week or two ago about how your focus creates your reality. And I feel like that's so true. And that's part of like the unconscious aspect of manifesting, is whatever you're focusing on, like that's what you're putting energy to. So that's all the universe knows to bring you. The universe doesn't know words, they know vibrations.
And with that being said, I think that it sounds so easy. Focus on something great. And a lot of us go through a lot of challenges and heavy times, and there's things constantly happening in our world. And so I think like breaking it down to things that we can do, like put my ring on with the intention of, okay, it's a new year, I'm shedding, finding your power and what you can control, because worry's gonna be there, but again, just having an understanding. I think it all surrounds also awareness, because of unconscious, a lot of stuff that we're talking about, like even manifesting unconsciously, that is happening. So every time we could pause, where we can be aware of our thoughts, it's really that simple, like breaking it down. And awareness is like a light shedding on yourself. So, trying not to make it too big, but also just know that you're growing and learning and becoming more aware. Like you have to be aware first.
Yeah, I do think that's definitely true, because without awareness, you're just living in unconsciousness, which isn't bad, because we all have, areas of our life that we are unconscious in. But like you said, the awareness sheds the light on the things that it's supposed to, for us to change and shift in ways that are more connected to
more in alignment with what we want to see,
You said a couple good things that I wanted to kind of separate and jump off of, because with awareness and what comes with that, one of the things, like you were saying, is like it's hard. Things come up for people. We can't always just be positive. Sometimes we have to feel our own stuff, which we preach all the time, which is why I do think going through this new year, it is important to remember to create a time and a place to find that balance, to allow yourself to feel those hard stuff or work through whatever you have to work through, but then also give yourself a time and a place to create and to have fun and to make this life yours, which is what this time of year is all about. It's intention setting. It's getting clear on what you want this year to look like for you. So it's not, negating all of the hardships or everything that's been coming up. It's just allowing you to shift your focus a little bit to have fun, to start to enjoy this life and start to see where you can start to make this life yours, which is why I think it's really important to find that balance. But also I feel like sometimes just pushing through and being positive, and it almost like sometimes people can ignore the other stuff that's going on. That doesn't help either. But that's why the balance comes in, like, and the awareness of consciously choosing where your focus goes is what's going to help you be in the driver's seat of your car, to start, you're in the driver's seat of your life, to start, creating the life that you want for yourself.
Yes, and I think like when people are at certain crossroads in their life, whether it's a job or a decision they have to make or whatever, I think that what I have found is trying to like hurry up and find an answer, or hurry up and get out of the confusion, and that has been something that I have tried to do, and that doesn't work. I think the minute I accepted the confusion, it sounds so weird, but the minute you accept it and you just tell yourself, that's where affirmations come in. That's where all these things come in. You tell yourself like all is well in this moment, and continue to lean into that, and just all the feelings that come with it. And I think it's important to not try to skip over
what's coming up.
Literally.
But I was going to say, because that message has been coming up so much, where you said, like, just accept the confusion. But it doesn't sound crazy. It's come up in a couple of my last clients where I felt pulled to say, like, it's okay to be where you are now, because right now is not a space that you're going to be in forever. And the more that you resist
being in that space, which
is what keeps you stuck.
I think the majority of the people, I know I have done that, and it's easy to do. And I think a lot of people do that, and we always want to help people to, whatever. And a lot of us want to help each other, but
a lot of people just want the answer.
And that's why I'm thinking
get out of
the
that
best
space.
Help is you're okay. You're doing great, and you'll figure it out. Like, I have a couple friends, and I'm like, they're psychics and mediums, and they could like totally help me with this answer, but the truth is no, they can't. Or they're what they're telling me is you're gonna figure it out, and you're good, and whatever. And that's like the best advice, because after so much time, you're like, okay, I'm clearly not getting answers. And the answer is to be with it and to feel it. And
well, that's what I was going to say. The answer is, like, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just the lesson in this journey is to let yourself feel the things that you're ignoring or that you're not wanting to feel. People think the answer is going to get them away from feeling these emotions, when really they're just going to come up in another lesson, another way somehow. And so if you can just let yourself, like, that's what I mean. All of these obstacles, these problems, these decisions, all they do in our lives is bring us closer to us and help us to understand ourselves and our needs on a deeper level. So really, if something's coming up and it's a decision or a problem or a situation, and you're resisting it, or you're trying to find a way out of it, like, really, I guarantee all your soul is needing is just time and space to be in this space, to feel your emotions. Like, it's like, I feel like that has come up so many times, but it's also something that's helped me so much work through things, is like to just let myself feel it and stop resisting it.
And again, it's, everything we hear, because we carry all the answers. We have our own truths. We have the answers. But it is a scary and lonely place. You could feel lonely, but again, like what you said, this is not forever. There's so many people that love you. There are so many people around you. Like, it's an emotion coming up for only you to be with. And then I think going within and finding that comfort, acceptance, all the things that comes with the loneliness, but finding it and being able to say you're okay is like progress. And it's like it will grow from there, I think. And that's the connection between yourself.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say, it only feels like forever when you're resisting it.
Yes.
Where it comes sooner, quicker, you move through it easier with more clarity when you just feel. It's so weird how we, like, and it's for everybody, how everybody has a lot of resistance to feeling their emotions sometimes because there's so many, and usually it's the harder emotions. I just started a new series, a video series on social media where it's going through healing your inner child and different wounds, and usually some of the hardest feelings to feel are connected to those inner child wounds. So it's also like just having compassion with yourself, whether it took you 2 months, a year, 5 years to work through this emotion. Like, know that that's one of the hardest emotions that your soul had. Like, that's why. So if you can give yourself understanding and compassion at the same time, like, that's what's going to help you move through all of this.
And you brought up inner child, and I was just thinking about Barney. I know you probably don't know Barney, right?
I know who Barney is.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I don't think I ever watched it, though.
But my oldest did watch it all the time. And they would talk about, I don't even know what it was, but the song is like, you can't go over it, you can't go around it, you have to go through it. And it was like this mountain of whatever it was. But the inner child thing reminded me, yep, you have to go through it. So
getting back to manifesting, once you've done all of that stuff that we talk about all the time, and once you feel like you're ready to start consciously choosing, and I guess you're never really ready, like, it's, again, your focus is your choice, like, so you have to choose.
The little things that you do intentionally, I think, set up your day, your future, your, like wearing the snake ring.
Yeah, that's your focus. Like,
so
it's
having
you're choosing.
So our minds can run, throughout the day, different focus, but when we come back to something like that, like, okay, all is good, and it's good to, not play little games, but to, intentionally set yourself up.
And I feel like people think, like, some people can think, like, oh, that's not going to make a difference, or it's something little, like, what is that going to do for me, like, in the grand scheme of things. But I feel like life really is a collection, like, you hear it all the time, life is a collection of these little moments. Like, if you think about it, like, a whole year went by, and nobody can understand how, and it's because it's in a collection of all these little days and moments and hours. So it's like when you bring it back to that space and you try to not think so big, but what can you do in this moment? And still have goals for 6 months, a year down the line, but still at the same time focus on today. And what are your daily habits and your daily thoughts like? And what is where is your focus on a daily? Like, that's what makes a big difference with how the year turns out for you.
And I don't know why I was thinking about, too, when you were talking about protection. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
When was I talking about protection?
Huh?
When was I talking about protection?
I don't know if we've talked about this before.
Oh, I thought you said today.
No.
I don't think that word ever came out of my mouth.
No, but I was talking to another friend who, that's a whole nother story, but we were talking about, like, she was going downtown in the city, and it's not really safe down there, and she was saying how she would never go without, protection, like physical protection that she's bringing with her and her husband and stuff. And and she's like, she got away from energetically protecting herself. And the point of it is, like, we've talked about this before, like, if you're going to war, you're going to be suited up, you're going to, show up for your job, whatever. And when we're walking around, I think it's just, again, the awareness piece, walking around in a world of everything is energy, like, just putting that intention that over yourself, that you are guided or protected by angels. And I know, but we were just talking about this.
Yeah, I don't
it's not like, in a scary way.
I just feel like the word protection holds fear itself.
So what other word can we say? But it's intention.
I think it's all connected to your solar plexus and your power center. Like, if you have a strong power center and you know yourself and who you are, and like, if you know what your focus is, and if you know like whatever about yourself, and you're strong in your power center, then you don't need to be protected, because if you're so strong in you, like, I don't think anybody else is going to be able to touch you.
But no, I agree with that, because you know me, I'm not a very big protection person like that. Like I told you before, like my nephew who couldn't sleep in his bed and all this stuff, and he would have night terrors and see people. And my sister started teaching him about Archangel Michael and suit yourself up, put your armor on. So it's different. But what I was going to say is, when you're walking into the city or in crowds of people, you might be vulnerable in some areas because
you're giving your power away.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying you might be having a vulnerable day, or maybe you're not vulnerable.
In your power.
Well, you can't be in your power 24/7, could you?
You could.
Could you? I mean, if you could, that's great. But yeah, I'm just saying, the average person, we're learning these things. That's why I think I learned about protection when 14 years ago in classes, and I was like, oh, I don't resonate with it. So I get it. I get what you're saying. It's not coming from a scary place. I thought just adding it in with the intention, just because I had this conversation with someone, and again, I think it's just sometimes being in vulnerable places. Or
you can just work on yourself and staying in your power and not giving your power away, and not it is all energy. And I'm trying to think how would you do that, but it just has to do with your connection with you, and knowing who you are and figuring that out, knowing your worth, knowing what you're deserving of, knowing what your goals are, where you want your focus to be. I feel like it's all connected to staying in your power, knowing your truth, how to speak your truth.
Have angels around you, to call them in. That doesn't, that's essentially what you're doing, just saying, walk with me. I mean, they already walk with us, but you know what I mean? I don't know. I view it as any form of mediumship.
Okay, can we get back to manifesting?
Yeah.
How did this get to there?
Are you going to cut this out?
No. No. So, with manifesting, and everything we just talked about, really your focus is everything. So this time of year is the time to have fun, be creative, set goals. And sometimes people think, I remember when I was younger, I used to think, oh, that's so cliche, I'll never make a New Year's resolution. Everybody's doing it. And I didn't want to do it. But if you change your perspective, it really can be fun, because if you remember, this is your life. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, what anyone else's goals are. It's about you. What do you want this week, this month, next month, 6 months, a year from now? So, speaking of, I can talk about really, really quickly. I do have my annual vision board class coming up. This year it's a pajama party. I don't know if you know that, but you can come in your pajamas in Orland Park. Bring your own drinks, alcohol if you want. I think I had mimosas last year. We'll see what I do this time, but it's actually at night this time, not in the morning. But vision boards.
When is it?
It's January 17th. It's a Friday night.
Oh, it's my grandpa's birthday.
So it's in Orland Park, but vision boards are so good for manifesting, because again, it's where your focus is. You're taking time to slow down and figure out and get clear on what you want your life to look like this year. Aside from that, visualizing is the number one best way to manifest consciously something that you want, which is so good, because they all teach, all the great teachers teach that to manifest, you have to visualize your life and feel into it and see it as if you're living that life right now, and really feel these emotions as strong as if it was really, really happening. Something that's been helping me is shifting my beliefs systems, or my belief, to show me that what I want is already happening, which can be hard. But for example, if I'm trying to manifest money, but I'm always stuck in lack of not having enough, or this or that, I can shift that belief to say, well, Kaylee, maybe I don't have the biggest savings in the world, but I do have a cushion. And I could say, well, Kaylee, you have this cushion. And so really you do have everything you need when you need it, because you can always pull from that if you need it. And that's always there. So you really do have everything you need when you need it. Instead of thinking, I don't have enough, or getting stuck and I needed more, or I don't have enough in that way. And if you don't have a savings, you can even say like the credit, like it's not the best financial like advice, but seeing it as you always have what you need, when using like a credit card as, an emergency, like, okay, maybe I don't have savings just yet, but I still have this cushion. And it gives you like a breather to start to believe, okay, you really are supported. But then that belief turns into more, and it manifests more, and it keeps you, like, that's how you bring in more to be grateful for, or you bring in more that you're going to be supported by, money, like abundance wise.
Just similar to the confusion we were talking about, telling yourself you're okay in this moment. Like it's very similar.
Yeah.
Like pulling from, okay, I'm healthy, I can get up, I can move, no matter what is going on, you can always pull from somewhere. Is what you're saying.
And that's what it might be not as obvious, but you have to play with it. But playing with it is what allows you to really connect yourself to that belief and the energy of what you're wanting to bring into your life. And it's those feelings that are the most important. As much as visualizing is so important in manifesting, I feel like the last 6 months or so, I've been realizing like the feeling is just as important. Like you have to literally create that frequency within your body of gratitude, of excitement, of joy, that what you want is here, and it shows up. Like there was a story where I was doing this a few months ago, and I was telling her about it. I was sitting in the sauna at natural healing centers, and I was just visualizing and manifesting, and I literally could bring myself to tears for how excited I was and everything that I was feeling. It all felt so amazing. And then I was just finishing up, my timer went off, and I like checked my phone, and I had like 3 new clients booked in like the 20 minutes that I was sitting and doing that. But that's how quick like energy can show up for you. That's the other thing too, connected to beliefs and manifesting. It is all your beliefs. So if you have a belief,
accept miracles.
Yeah,
that.
Like if you have a belief that things take a long time, like you can bet yourself things are going to take a long time. I remember when I started this business, I heard it takes 5 years to build a successful business. So you can bet the last year I've been trying to let go of that belief, because I would catch myself like being worried about, like I want to be here. And then I'm like, oh, well, they say it takes 5 years, so I guess I just have to wait. But I'm like, the last few months.
Because I just I'm like, oh, it's going good.
Yeah, it's so annoying. But no, really, like, so the last 6 months I've been trying to shift that belief and say, like, no, things show up in an instant. When I'm connected to it, and when it's something that I'm in alignment with, they show up instantaneously. That is how the universe works for me. And it's fun when it happens, and then it reaffirms the belief, and it just gets stronger. But it's just that beginning part where you have to shift those initial beliefs to start seeing how what you're wanting is already here, or it's already shown up in one aspect or another.
And going back to the awareness piece, like what you said, you read somewhere that it takes 5 years. Beliefs are what run our subconscious, I think.
Yeah, which is how you unconsciously manifest.
Yes, we heard something from so many people, and it's sometimes we don't realize it might not resonate with us, certain things, but then we're in this confusion space, or we're trying to understand it or whatever, and it could be that it simply is just not a belief that we need to hold on to. Like it could be something like that, the 5 years, and you could be making it happen, and you could be struggling and not being so happy while you're building a business, or you could stop and say, wait a second, what is my problem? Oh, it's 5 years, it's going on 4. Oh, but then you can stop and say, that's not even my belief. But it's all about, it goes hand in hand with like awareness, and just start to observe. Like I always, do that when I'm really, really stuck. I take myself out of my emotions. I'm a very emotional person. I feel through everything, but I take myself out and I'm like, okay, we need to observe some things that are going on here with me, not with anyone else, with my thoughts, with my feelings, and it always steers you in the right direction.
Well, I was going to say too, something I feel like I realized with life or with manifesting is a lot of people, you hear this a lot of people I feel like expect the worst outcome. Or the biggest thing is what I was going to say is they're afraid to get excited because what if things don't happen? What if things don't show up the way we want it to? And the thing with manifesting is, again, like worrying is praying, for things you don't want. Like that's what you're going to continue to show up in your life. Whereas if you can just like, I don't know how, I literally feel like sometimes I sit on the, like, what's the word? I feel like I sit on the secret of the entire universe in manifesting is feeling and visualizing and really letting yourself just get excited and be happy. Like nobody realizes how powerful that energy is. And I don't know how to explain it any deeper than all of that energy and those frequencies really do bring you everything that you want. You just have to let yourself have it. You have to let yourself feel it. And if there is something that you're wanting that isn't showing up in your life, you have to figure out where in you is resisting having what you want.
I'm just laughing because I'm laughing inside about Wayne Dyer. Like, he would always, he's the father of motivation, he's positivity, all this stuff. And he would always tell the story about his daughter, like in the morning, he's like hurrying, oh, come on, we got to go. Like, I got to go walk by the ocean and, I get paid for my thoughts here, like that kind of thing. And he's the one daughter, I believe it was Serena, but would tell him, I wonder what the world would say about Mr. Positive now. And I'm sitting here listening to you say this. I was like, I'm going to, not that, but I get to see all the sides.
Thanks.
So we're figuring it out. I'm just bringing it down humbly. Like we're figuring it out too. Like, it's having that awareness, the key, knowing, but then it's like putting into practice.
You're making me seem like I'm horrible.
No, not at all. I'm just saying you're real, you're human, and you have to, even though you feel that you have the key and all this stuff, which I agree, you still have to implement it in your life, which again, you are, but I'm saying there's always room, more room, and it's good to,
and I feel like I really do know, it makes sense because I really do only implement it when I'm by myself and in meditation. So my family definitely sees the aspects that I don't care to focus on or work on. But that's why having that space. But you have
to start somewhere, and you're doing it. So I wasn't saying it. I just think it's funny. Wayne Dyer. What would the world say about Mr. Positive now? Like I think that's so funny because the people close to us get to see sometimes the transformations in progress, which it's life.
But going back to manifesting, and the other big thing we could talk a little bit about is like resistance to manifesting, because that's the other big thing like that people get stuck in is like, oh, I've tried manifesting and it doesn't work or it doesn't show up for me, and it's not that it doesn't work, it's just that there's something that
it's crazy because even hearing that, I think manifestation and intention and finding out what you truly want go hand in hand. Like it's literally
but
so as long as you're working on those things about yourself, observing intention and doing your manifestation should show up.
But I feel like the average person, especially because it's gone big on social media the last few years, like the average person doesn't really understand energy and focusing on yourself and healing. Like they just think like, oh, I can manifest I can get myself whatever I want, but it's understanding how it actually works, how the energy works, how to really work with it to bring you what you want. And so that's why I was saying, if you've tried manifesting before and you're not receiving what you want or you don't know why it's working, I would say, again, everything's energy. So if something's not showing up, you have to understand that you have some form of resistance to receiving that thing that you want. Mm-hmm. An easy one that I can share or talk about is losing weight, because everybody has this New Year's resolution, January 1st. And I saw a video that shared this teaching, which I thought was really good about that. If you are your whole life are like, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, but it's never happening or it's never showing up, you have to slow down and try to tune into the part of yourself that doesn't want to lose weight, because there's a part of you that thinks that it's serving you or that it's helping you. And if you could really dig deep, usually it's like an inner wound connected to not feeling protected. Like the weight is a protection. It's something that's on you that protects you, whether it's from rejection or abandonment or whatever. But there's a part of you, there's an inner self that feels like it's protecting you and that you need it to keep you safe. And if you can figure out why or what that is, and you can integrate it and heal that resistance and realize, that's not actually how it is, or you actually don't need this protection, or actually I'm whole as it is, or I know I fully accept myself whether or not someone is rejecting me or not, so I'm whole within me, then if that's what the weight is connected to, you'll start to notice like you're not going to have a resistance to lose weight, or it's not going to be as hard. So it's like there's always a reason if something that you are wanting isn't showing up for you. You just have to play with it and not be afraid to dig deep within yourself to figure, that kind of stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, I have no clue how long we've been sitting here for, but is there anything else you want to talk about with manifesting and just getting clear? I think the biggest thing is like really just let yourself get excited and have fun this time of year and get clear on what you want
and what you want today.
Yeah.
Because what you want for me is so overwhelming when I think about that. When you're in a space of, like a challenging time or your world's upside down and you're in that confusion. So I always think the worst case scenario, like the people that...
like I was just saying.
But I'm saying I want to help the people...
Still creating the worst case scenario?
No, I want to...
How's that going?
I want to offer some things to people who feel like, it's all fine and dandy if my life is, going a certain way.
Yeah.
So I just like to break it down